Jay, let's run onto a couple of quick hits. As an Arsenal guy, Martinelli is back from suspension. Do you have him or Smith-Rowe?
You have to play Smith-Rowe. One, I've said this to you before. I think it was Smith-Rowe's ceiling is Jack Grealish at Aston Villa. I think he's that good. It's not just because of how they wear their socks. I think he's that good. Also, he's the team's leading goal scorer, and we're in February and he's still scoring.
Is he the leading goal scorer?
He's the leading goal scorer. Oh. And at this point, when you have a team that's been struggling for goals, why would I sit that guy? I understand why Martinelli came into the team. Actually, he came into the team because Smith-Rowe was injured. Then he had good performances, and he's a demon on the press and just with energy. And unless he can convert into a striker, if it comes down to Smith-Rowe or Martinelli right now, I think Smith-Rowe should be playing, in my opinion.
I would play the both of them. I've seen when Arteta has gone gung-ho, and that's the lineup I like for Arsenal. I know it is, in terms of balance, it doesn't give you balance, but Arsenal still play good football in terms of they're attractive on the eye and they play good neat passes.
Where would you play Martinelli though, if you're playing all
I'd have Martinelli on the right, Saka on the left. I'd have Smith-Rowe as a 10.
And Odegaard?
Just behind him.
And then you just have Partey by himself in midfield.
Partey can do it. Partey, I mean, Jay, there are only 4 teams that are big enough to trouble you in midfield. Well, yeah, technically, I mean,
no, Chad, having seen Arsenal play with one pivot, I'd love that because this guy who's supposed to be Prep Light, who plays it like one pivot, is supposed to introduce that kind of like game. I don't think the team is there as yet to just play with the one pivot.
I'd love to see that team because what you have with Smith-Rowe is a guy who's very direct. Like when you see him score his goals, he sees the goal while he's, I think, 2 touches away. He knows how to eliminate the player and just
I think Smith-Rowe is as good at Saka, hey?
Yeah, no, I think that guy.
There's a reason the song is what Saka and Smith-Rowe, something like that.
I don't know that song. I'm not going to learn that song. I don't want to hear that song.
Hater. All right, Chuck. Moving on to your team. Based on what you saw on the weekend, the 4-2 result, going 2-0 up, giving up the lead, and then winning it at the end. Are you encouraged or discouraged with the game against Leeds? Why?
Discouraged because the same thing keeps happening. I don't care which we overcame it. We need to prevent it from happening. You can't have it which it's now game number 4, if I'm mistaken, on the trot where we've been up in the first half. And in the first 5-10 minutes of the second half, we can see the goal. It's like, guys, you know it's going to come. Switch on. Fine. There's that fluke goal, right? And then they score like 3 seconds later. Guys, where are the alarm bells? Are you guys just chilling? And then we have to toil again and again.
Have you seen this happen before?
And especially if you look at the fact that in the last couple of games before this one, we haven't been clinical enough to put teams away. And so if you're going to get picked back to 2-2 against Leeds at their home ground, what are the chances of you coming back? So I'm encouraged that we got 3 points. We finally converted and got the W. But it's more of the same, man. I think we got lucky, if I'm honest.
Given that this is what United have been doing, where they go up and they concede, even going 2 up, they still like allow the other teams to come into it. I'm going to say, when that happened, it was okay, this is not unexpected. So that's the baseline. This is what happens. But then they came back themselves and scored the other 2 goals. Also, we had a Sancho showing on the weekend where I was like, man, this boy's football IQ. What the decisions, the things that he sees, the vision when he's in the final third, and the ability to execute on the things that he sees, you've got a serious talent on your hands there.
That's why at the beginning,
and I'm encouraged, Chuck, also because right, Paul Pogba last 2 games has been brilliant. So
this is why we're happy every time Paul Pogba.
this is exactly why. Also, Bruno Fernandes again proving that he is world class and he's needed and he's showing up in these games. So yes, are there things that still need to be sorted? Yeah, United are not suddenly title contenders, but the fact that they did what they were doing before, but then overcame it, and also sprinkled in between those performances from those big players, I'm encouraged, man.
I'll say something controversial, but I absolutely fully mean it. If Sancho was signed by Arsenal, he hit the ground running, because Sancho but listen, Sancho plays the kind of football where he gives you the ball and he runs into space. Well, if you look at United, there are only 2 or 3 players giving you that option. The rest of them are stagnant. And if you look at the ball when it's played on Sancho's side, he draws players in there, like 2 or 3 players who are playing triangles with him. And Arsenal do that all day, and he'd hit the ground running. But if you have to go beat the man and there's no other option, beat the man and cross, you're limiting my performance. If I can dummy beating the man and pass inside and go around you, then as a defender, you've got stuff to worry about. But if it's just you, my job is easy. But what Sancho brings to the table is options. If he's not beating you down the wing, he's passing, he's cutting in, he's got flicks, he's got all these things. So,
and maybe we're going to see more of this, which is encouraging.
It is encouraging. But the fact that we got pegged back again, for me, it's more of the same, man. I'm just happy for the 3 points, but the performance. We were talking about controlling games. Where is that?
Yeah, Chuck. As I'm saying, it's like we're not sorting out all the issues all in one go at the same time, but some of them have been sorted.
Times are moving.
Well, time that may be up for someone is Sadio Mane. Over the weekend, he was playing through the middle. Diaz was playing the team. Jota was out. Do you have concerns for Mane's spot in the starting lineup with the introduction of Diaz into this team?
Yeah, I think eventually with Klopp, you will fall away. We saw Firmino. We thought Jota's coming in as a replacement for Firmino, but he was the starter who eventually replaced Firmino for good. And I think if Mane
was a backup.
So I think if Mane continues this way, because one thing that Klopp does, because he's loyal, he does give his players a run. Even if you have a bad patch, he gives you a run. But the way Diaz is playing, if Jota and Salah are fit, there's no space for Mane. I mean, he had horrible AFCON for me, Mane. He goes and he tries and he tries and he tries. You can't knock him for that. But in terms of form and conversion, he's not quite there. So it could be up, but I think we'd more likely to see that at the beginning of the next season. But I think with this season, he'll still give him a run.
I think he should be looking over his shoulder. He scored a spectacular goal over the weekend. But it was clear to me that Mane is not someone to play down the middle. And the concern for me there is when Jota's out, Firmino not being there, we know that he's obviously more comfortable and he's best from the left wing. But when an accommodation needed to happen, Diaz was put in Mane's position, and Mane was asked to go do a job down the middle. And when that starts to happen, you're like, well, your job security is not that high, because
when you're the utility player, yeah.
Let's say Diaz is left-footed. There's no way Salah's asked to go down. Salah is going to play where he is best. So the combination of those things, for me, Mane should be watching over his shoulder. As you say, we saw this with Jota, because when you come into the team and you are brilliant for a period of time, it's hard to ignore you. And if Diaz keeps putting in performances better than Mane, then that's going to be tricky.
And then lastly, it was a bad thing that happened this past week. The Proteas got smashed by the Black Caps.
Yeah.
Do you think we can come back? I mean, if you look at the way we batted, it was, for me, it's discouraging. But do you think there's hope?
We can, Chuck. What happened in this game? Like, we're in a 10-day strict lockdown. Van der Dussen spoke out against that, and then we didn't also have any practice matches. We're straight into the conditions. Also, when I think about the fact that New Zealand did win by an innings and 117 runs, I believe, against Bangladesh in the second of the 2 test matches, they had lost the first test match against Bangladesh, so they're not bulletproof at home, even with a innings and however many runs victory in one of the games. And this is still the Proteas who we saw come back against India. Sure, there are not 2 games to do it, but yeah, man, do I think we will do it? Not that confident, but we're in with a fighting chance. I wouldn't look at this based on the circumstances that led to it and think that, we can't win.
I mean, with the team lineup that we have, we just took a gamble for no reason. Yeah, for me, I don't see it happening.
We'll see. Guys, thank you for joining us on yet another episode of To A Front. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find our podcast on every streaming service. You can find us on social media at To A Front Pod on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find me at J_Zulu, and you can find Chuck at Chuck2Up. From me, I am Audi.
All right, guys, hit us up. Let us know what you think of esports joining the Commonwealth arena. Do you think they should be there to stay? And what do you make of it? Is it a sport? Can you make a case for esports? The Champions League, do you think the away goal rule being changed affects much? Do you think it changes how we perceive the event? And then lastly, with the quick hits, do you think Martinelli comes in for Smith-Rowe? Would that be a smart move? Or lastly, United's comeback against Leeds, is it impressive or nay? This is Chuck, and I'm out.